This conference will now be recorded.
Morning we talked about one company code, right? So which company code we talked about in the morning? What is this? Dell Computers India Limited. Right? We talked about parameters that are to be maintained for your first transaction in your company code when you're practicing. We decided you should have leading ledger, non-leading ledger, you should have local currency, group currency, profit center, accounting principle, 2 fiscal years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, assuming this Dell Computers is operating in 5 countries, let's say we are operating in 5 countries. Let me put here, if Dell is operating in India, I will say Dell India Limited. If Dell is operating in US, I'll say Dell USA Limited. Assuming Dell is also operating in Malaysia, Dell is also operating in Australia. This also I'll put, this is just an example. Dell is also operating in, let's say, Dubai. Dell is also operating in Singapore. Now, how many countries we have written? Here I'll put
6 countries.
legal entity name. Six countries we have written. Now, next to legal entity name, I'll put company code, assuming we are dealing with a company code which starts from Dell followed by numbering sequence or Dell followed by country code. Let's take first 2 digits of my company code. I am taking as DE. Next 2 digits of my company code will be country code. For India, what is the country code? 2-digit ISO defined country code.
91.
We can say IN.
India country code, IN. But I'll say DEIN. DE I'll represent as a Dell. The next 2 digits I will represent as my country. In short, the moment I look at my company code, I will understand which country this company code belongs to. For USA, what should be the code according to this logic?
US.
DE
LUS.
US.
DE US.
US.
For Malaysia,
Dell and
MY.
DE EMY. Correct. For Australia,
AE.
DE
AUS.
AU. Correct.
AU.
AU. Your country code is only 2 digits. These 2-digit country codes are ISO defined. Okay, these are global country codes which are valid across the globe. For Dubai,
DB.
Dubai,
I
AE,
think DU. AE fine.
AE. For Singapore,
SG.
SG. Now, assuming this is your company code, and then we'll put country in which we are operating. For India, we are operating, let's say, in India. For this, I'll say US, and here I'll say Malaysia, Australia, Dubai, and then Singapore. These are the countries wherein we are operating. Now, here I'll put local currency. What is the local currency in India?
INR.
INR. This currency is again 3-digit ISO defined code. So for India, it will be INR. For USA,
US dollars.
US
USD.
dollar. For Malaysia,
MOR,
MYR, correct. For Australia,
AUD,
AUD, Australian dollar. For Dubai,
Real.
AED,
Real.
Zero.
AED. AED.
AED, correct. For Singapore,
SGD,
SGD.
SGD.
For Singapore, this is your Singapore dollar. Now,
What
till
is
now,
ISO
whatever,
stands for, sir?
what is?
ISO stands for.
ISO stands for your International Standards Organization, something is there. I don't exactly remember the definition. Anybody knows what is ISO full form?
what you have told is correct, Ajay. It's International Standard Organization.
Yeah. So in SAP, when you create any company code, when you create any currency, you will get a pop-up drop down. When you click on that pop-up, you will get the list of countries.
Yes, sir.
Oh, right. So those are the list which are approved by ISO, which means tomorrow if you want to create any country in SAP, that is not allowed. And tomorrow, if you wanted to create any new currency code in SAP, that is not allowed. If you want to increase or decrease any decimals of a particular currency, that is not allowed, because these are all predefined as per ISO guidelines. If you talk about India, Indian currency is INR. You cannot change currency of INR. So Indian rupee, you have to always identify with INR. Can I change INR as some other shortcut code?
No.
We cannot change, right? We have to strictly follow the same codes. Now, if somebody is asking you tomorrow, can you create a new currency in SAP? Your answer should be no. If somebody is asking you, can you create a new country in SAP? Your answer should be no. Because these are ISO predefined countries list, and all the ISO predefined countries currencies, whatever the parameters, are predefined in SAP. If there is any new country added in the globe, which will be automatically reflected in your SAP, because SAP will add it globally, which will be automatically enabled on your screen. Okay, so clear till here, whatever the input that we have written. Any doubt on this?
No.
No.
Clear, right? Now, next
Yes.
I am going to write accounting principle. Which accounting principle we will be using in India?
Indian Companies Act. I see.
Indian Companies Act, correct. If you are in the USA,
IFRS or
let's say you are using IFRS in USA, or let's assume that you are using US GAAP. In Malaysia, let's say Malaysian accounting principle. We do not know what is the accounting principle of them, but they will have their own accounting principle. Right? Every country will have their own accounting guidelines, their own accounting rules and regulations, which we will call it as local accounting principle or local GAAP. Now for Australia, let's say Australian accounting. For Dubai, let's assume Dubai accounting. For Singapore, let's say Singapore accounting. Clear? Assuming these are the accounting principles that are used in the respective country. Now, can I use US GAAP in India? Is that allowed?
no, sir.
No.
If I want to use US GAAP in India, it is not allowed. Similarly, if I want to use Indian Companies Act in Dubai, is that allowed?
No, sir.
No.
It is not allowed. We have to strictly follow the respective country's accounting principle if we have to do business in that country. Okay, there is no exception for any country in any company, for any company. So every company who is dealing business or who is operating in India must follow Indian Companies Act and then do their accounting. Similarly, in every country, they have to follow the respective accounting principle. This is called as which accounting principle? Whatever the accounting principle that you are following in each of the countries is called as what accounting principle? This is called your
Okay.
local accounting principle.
Yes, sir.
This is called as local accounting principle. Now, these 2 points are very important for us to understand. Okay, these 2 points are country specific. Let me add a point here. These 2 are what? Country specific. If you open, let's say, one more entity in, let's say, Dell, I'll say South Africa. If I say Dell South Africa, what will be the company code? DE, code for South Africa,
SA.
SA or ZA?
SA.
SA. And I'll put this as South Africa. Currency, ZAR. Accounting principle, let's say South African accounting principle. Is this correct? Now, if you add any new legal entity, if you add any new company code in any new country, is this clear to add this information until here? How you are adding it? Any confusion in this adding up to this information? Or is it clear?
No, sir.
Clear,
Yes.
Is
right?
it clear? Clear.
Now, let's say this is your country specific, and I will write one more thing here called group currency. And I'll write one more thing, accounting principle group. Now these two, let us put a different color. What will be the group currency? Now when we say group currency, you are talking about common currency. When you say group currency, you are talking about common currency. When you say group accounting principle, you are talking about common accounting principle. In short, whatever you write or whatever you take as your group currency must be common for all your company codes across the globe. At entire Dell group level, group currency is common. At entire Dell group level, your accounting principle for group reporting is common. In general, which currency will be used as group currency?
US dollar.
US dollar is the common currency which is used in any company as group currency. We will also be using dollar. And for accounting principle, which one we will be using for group reporting or for
IFRS.
consolidation purpose?
IFRS.
No, sir,
IFRS.
IFRS.
IFRS. So we will also be using IFRS for all of our company codes. Now these two are country specific. Now these are group or common. Okay, these two are group or common. Now, if you look at overall, for every company code, do you have two currencies, two accounting principles?
No, sir. Different.
No, no, no. You have the number of accounting principles too and a number of currencies too,
Correct, sir.
Yes, sir.
right? For Dell India, you have assigned currency number 1, currency number 2. You have assigned accounting principle number 1, accounting principle number 2. These two are not same, but you are using two different accounting principles, two different currencies. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right. Now, any company code that we are going to create in SAP as part of your practice, you must maintain two currency codes and then two accounting principles. This is mandatory, without which you are not supposed to create any company code. You are not supposed to post any document. This is your first rule before you create a company code. So what company code you are creating must be there in your mind very clearly. Just like that, for the sake of creating a company code, we are not supposed to create it. Now, once this information is clear, we will talk about further. If you have any question on this table, you can ask me. Now, can you fill up this table if additional countries are added here? You got the logic on what basis we filled this up?
Yes, sir.
Now, now I'll take one example. Let's say I want to know the sales. Now, everybody knows what is the sales. Is this a P&L account or a balance sheet account?
It is P&L account, sir.
P&L.
Sales is a
P&L
P&L
account.
account, and you will be measuring your sales on monthly basis or on yearly basis.
Monthly
On
basis.
monthly, sir.
You will
Monthly
measure your
basis.
sales or you will check, verify your sales on a monthly basis. Let's say I want to verify my sales. Now I'll take all the companies here. I'm going to take all the currencies here. Okay. Assuming I have made sales in India, my sales in India will reflect in which currency?
INR.
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 My sales in India will reflect in INR. Let's say I have made 5 lakh sales in INR. My sales in USA will reflect in which currency?
USD.
USD, sir.
USD.
US dollar. Let's say I've made some 2,40,000 dollar sales in USD. In Malaysia, which currency?
Ringgit.
Malaysian
In
Malaysian
ringgit.
ringgit.
Malaysia, it will be ringgits. Let's say we've posted around 3 lakh ringgits sales in Malaysia. In Australia, your sales will reflect in Australian dollars.
Yes.
Assuming in Australia my sales is 6 lakh dollar. In Dubai, dirhams.
Yeah. Dubai currency.
Now in Dubai, let's say 2 lakh 80,000 dirhams. In
Singapore dollar.
Singapore dollar, let's say 4 lakh 60,000 Singapore dollars. South Africa, ZAR currency, assuming some 3 lakh 50,000. Now, if this is your sales figure in each of your legal entity, in each of your company code. Now, in general, for every country, there is country specific financial team, correct? For
Yes.
India, you will have some finance manager, you will have some CFO in India, is that correct?
Yes. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Now, Indian CFO or Indian finance head is responsible for validating sales in India in INR currency. Similarly, for USA, you will have one responsible person. For Malaysia, in each of the country, you will have one finance head or CFO based on the company hierarchy. Now, each of these persons in the respective country for the respective company code will handle only this sale. Let's say the financial head in India is responsible only for 5 lakh INR sales. Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
And he is not responsible for sales in USA, Malaysia, Australia, or wherever. In fact, the person who is working in India will not be able to see the data of USA company, Malaysia company, Australian company, even though he belongs to same company. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
His access in the system is restricted only to the company code which he is working for. If he is working in India, he is responsible to see or he is authorized to see transactions of Indian company code only. He cannot check the data of USA company code or any other country's company code because data in each company code is independent. Let's say this is at country level reporting. Now there is something called corporate reporting or group reporting, or you also call it as consolidation. For the management, when you talk about the sales, what do they need? What do they need? Do they need sales of these 7 figures or sales of one single figure? Assuming you are the owner of Dell,
7.
if you are the
There were
owner of
seven
Dell,
figures.
you want the total sales of all your company codes at group level, or you want sales of each country level?
Yeah, they need the consolidated sales number.
Both, sir.
If you are looking at from a group point of view, if you are looking at a person who is owner of or the shareholder of your Dell, do you need one single consolidated number of total sales or you want country wise sales?
One single number of full set.
Right, you want
Okay, they need
sales
both.
as a single figure.
Yes, sir.
Right, for corporate reporting point of view, what do you need? You want sales as a single figure. When I say sales, I want to know what is my total sales. I don't want any breakup. Sales in India is this much, sales in USA is this much, sales in Malaysia, sales in Australia. I do not want the breakup. If I am looking at from a corporate point of view, if I am looking at from a group point of view, here I want the consolidated report. When I want to see the consolidated report, I want to club sales of all my 7 company codes together. Now, if I want to club all these sales, can I simply put a formula here? If I put a
Yes, sir.
formula here, this is what I am getting. But is this correct if I do total of all these sales, or this is wrong?
This is not correct.
This is wrong.
Is wrong, sir.
Wrong. For
This
one
is wrong.
single
Why this
correct
is
only,
wrong?
sir.
All currencies
Because
are different, sir. We
they
can
are
match
different
currencies.
currencies.
They are
Correct. This
involving
is
different
They are different
currencies.
currencies.
correct. This is
7
wrong
is
because all these numbers are in different currencies. If all the numbers are in same currency, we can do a total and we can tell this is your total sales. Since each currency is different, we cannot do a total. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, this is mandatory requirement in every client, in every organization. Group reporting or corporate reporting or consolidation is mandatory in every organization. Okay, when we know that this is mandatory in every organization, when you know that you may be operating in different countries, you will definitely have different currencies. When you have different currencies, it is not possible for us to consolidate unless you have a common currency. For the purpose of this group reporting or corporate reporting or consolidation purpose, we will be using a dedicated currency for all your company codes, which is called as your group currency. Okay, in the above example, we have taken group currency. What did we take as group currency?
USD, sir.
USD. In every company code, dollar is the group currency, or is there any change?
Sir, dollar.
Dollar is the common currency in all of your company codes. Now here, these are all INR figures, dollar figures, the different currency. If you have another value here, I'll say dollar. Assuming this 5 lakhs, I'm just giving random numbers. I'll give, let's say, 2,30,000 here, 1,20,000. Don't convert this number, I'm randomly giving the values. 80,000, let's say 4 lakhs. This is again, I'll give 1 lakh, 2,30,000. I'll give 90,000. Now, according to us, if everything is dollar now, can I do a total?
Yes,
If I
sir.
do a
Now
total,
we
Yes, sir.
can do.
is this correct now? If I do a total for all this,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is correct.
now this is correct. Why this is correct?
Because it is a single currency.
That is a group
This is
currency.
correct because it is group currency, and for all your company codes, group currency is dollar. Right? The purpose of maintaining the group currency is for this. Now, tomorrow, if you wanted to see overall sales of your company, overall Dell sales, you will be generating corporate reporting. In every company, there is something called corporate accounting team. Corporate accounting team. Anybody heard this name? In every company, there will be a team called corporate accounting team or global accounting team or corporate reporting team. Anybody heard these names?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this corporate accounting team will monitor the accounting business process, which is followed in all your company codes in different countries. Now, whenever you are posting any transaction, in which currency do we feed the data or we will input the number? Let's say if I am posting a transaction in Indian company code, while recording the sales, do I input INR number or dollar number?
INR number.
When I am recording any transaction
INR.
in Indian company code, I will only write the value of INR. US dollar is always converted by the system based on the exchange rate. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if you are posting anything in US, you will be posting every transaction in dollars, and this dollar will be automatically converted to dollar. Since both currencies are same, it will be the same number. In case if you are posting anything in Malaysia, you will be recording all your Malaysian transactions in MYR currency. When you put MYR currency value, is this automatically converted to dollars or we need to manually type dollar number?
That will convert automatically.
This is converted automatically. Similarly, AED or any other currency. Any other currency that you input is automatically converted into dollars. Now, let us, any question in this? These two values.
No, sir.
Clear everyone?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
This is how You
Yes,
input
sir.
the data in your company code. This data is automatically converted. If you are preparing reporting or if you are submitting reports data to the officials within India, you will be generating your reports in local currency. If you are preparing reports for your group purpose or corporate purpose, you will be preparing the data or you will be taking the reports in group currency. Now, let me write one more point here. Currencies in a company code. Normally, how many currencies do we have in a company code?
Three
Three
currencies.
currencies.
Three
Two,
currencies.
two.
In a
Three
company
currency in
code. So
ECC,
first
9 currencies in
currency,
S4HANA.
right. So first one will be your
Lo-
local currency,
Local currency.
or this is also called as
Company code.
company code currency. Now second one is your group
Group currency.
currency, or what is the other name of this?
Do-
Local currency 2.
Two.
Third one is your hard currency, or
Document.
what is the other
Hard
name?
currency.
Index-based currency.
Index based currency, or
Local
local
currency.
currency 3. Now these three currencies are mandatory or are maximum in ECC. If you are using S4 HANA, apart from this you can have 9 more currencies, correct?
Yes.
Is that right? You
Yes,
can
sir.
have additional currencies in S4 HANA. Now let us limit to these three only. Even in S4 HANA we will not be using so many currencies. 3 are maximum. 3 will solve majority of your reporting requirements. Now each currency will have a currency type. Okay, local currency is identified by which currency type?
And
INR.
Company code
Local
currency.
currency is identified by currency type 10. In SAP, if you tell local currency, system
10.
will not
Okay.
understand. In SAP, system will understand local currency as currency type 10.
Okay.
Okay, here I'll put
Group currency.
currency and I'll put currency type. Group currency,
30.
30, sir.
group currency is 30. What about hard currency?
40.
40 or 50.
40 or 50, depending on what kind of currency you are picking. If you are using hard currency, it may be 40. If you are using index based currency, it may be 50. Now these codes you have to understand, you have to remember, because if you do not remember this, while generating the report it will be difficult. You cannot input anywhere on the system that INR report I want or local currency report I want, because if you are using 7 different company codes in 7 different countries, you are ending up having 7 different currencies,
Yes, sir.
right? If you look at this, everything is local currency here, but is everything same currency code or different?
Different.
Different, sir.
For
Different
India,
currency.
INR is local currency. For USA, dollar is local currency. Likewise, I have 7 local currencies but 7 different currencies. So that is why system will not recognize your currency by currency code. Instead, it will recognize this by your currency type. Any report that you generate, any transaction that you post in SAP is company code specific. Is what specific?
Company code.
Right? Let me write here. All transactions and reports are company code specific in SAP, which means if you tell 10, you cannot tell 10 alone. You have to tell 10 of which company code. If I say 10 of company code DEIN, now system understood DEIN is an Indian company code. In this company code setting, you would have maintained a currency, correct? You cannot only give me data of 10. System will understand, okay, I have to give you local currency report of which company code. If you tell company code DEIN, by the company code itself, system understands, okay, DEIN company code is using INR currency. It will give you data in INR. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, everybody must have created a company code. While creating a company code, you will find a field called currency.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Right? Now, here
Yes.
I'll put one more thing called assignment. Where do you assign your local currency or company code currency?
In company code. While creating company
What
code.
is the T code for company code creation?
OX02.
OX02 is
OX0.
where you are going to assign your local currency or company code currency. Now, level, this is at company code level, correct? Your local currency is at company code level. Am I correct?
Correct, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now, what about your group currency? Where do you assign this? In which screen?
Client level, sir. SCC4.
This is assigned at
In current.
SCC4. This is at what level?
Client level, sir.
This is at client level, correct. Now, third currency is assigned at what level? At what T code?
So at country level and OY01, sir.
OY01 is the screen, and this is at
Country level.
country level. And when somebody is asking you how many currencies can we maintain for a company code and where do you maintain them, this is what you have to tell. Okay, these three currencies you will be maintained in these screens. Other currencies are directly assigned to your company code. Clear? Your local
So what?
currency is assigned at company code level in the transaction code OX02. Your group currency is assigned at client level in the transaction SCC4. Your hard currency or index based currency, you can use either of this, either this or that. You can use hard currency or you can use index based currency, but we don't use both together. This is maintained at country level in OY01 screen. Any questions on these three assignment levels?
So what about the currency we enter while creating company in OX15?
That is your company currency. Your company currency, there is nothing in SAP. When you generate any report, anywhere do you get a field called company or everywhere you get a field called company code?
Report.
Let's say
We'll
you are
get the
posting a
company code.
transaction. You are posting a transaction. You have a field called company code, not company. You are generating any report. You will have a field called company code, not company. Company is used for consolidation purpose. Now, do we use SAP for consolidation purpose or do we use BPC for consolidation purpose?
EPC.
BPC.
We will be using BPC for consolidation purpose. So any consolidation report for any company is extracted or is prepared at BPC level, not at SAP level. So we are not going to generate any report at company level in SAP. This company is created to manage your intercompany transactions. You have something called affiliated company, non-affiliated company. Okay,
Yes,
when we
sir.
do intercompany transactions, especially when you do transactions in asset accounting, you will come across this terminology called affiliated company, non-affiliated company. Okay, if you are not using a company, if you are not assigning your company code to the company system, the way it understands whether this is affiliated or non-affiliated differs. So as of now, until we come to intercompany transactions, let us ignore company. Okay, when we are on intercompany transactions, at that level I will make you understand the concept of affiliated company, non-affiliated company, global company, and then your company alone. Okay, at this stage it is not required.
Sir, what is
Okay,
hard currency?
now this hard currency or index based currency is used for your country level reporting. Let's say if you take an example of, this is most probably used in European countries. Okay, and your American countries. Let's say if I take American countries or European countries, can anybody tell two or three countries of European? I'll say England.
Finland,
German, France,
Iceland.
Singapore.
Now let's say these are all European countries. What is the common currency in Europe?
Euro,
Euro.
Euro.
Europe.
For all
Euro currency.
European countries,
Euro.
Euro is common currency in European continent. Now there may be a local requirement according to European continent. Any European country who is doing business must submit their reports in euro currency also. Any country who is operating in European continent must submit or must prepare their reports in euro also. Now, is this requirement valid for all your company codes or company codes which are there in European continent only?
Only in European continent.
Right? The countries where you are operating in European continent alone requires this setting. Let's say I'll put England, I'll put where did we put, so let me put this here. Let's say Del Germany. In Germany, what is the currency?
Rank.
Country code for Germany?
GE.
Okay, let's say this is Germany. Currency?
Euro.
Currency is euro. Okay. This will be your German accounting. Your group currency will be dollar here. And this will be IFRS. Now I'll add, what was the other country we have talked about in European continent?
England.
Say Del England. DEEN. England. Currency of England?
Pound.
GBP, Great Britain pound.
GBP. let's say this will be your England accounting, this will be dollar, this will be IFRS. Now out of this list, how many European continents you have countries?
Two, sir.
Two. Agree?
Only one,
These two
sir.
are your.
One.
Germany is not European.
Yes, sir. Europe.
Okay, let's take these two as European continents. For these European continent, you will need third currency, which can be either hard or index based. Okay, you decide only one. You cannot put two. Either you put hard currency or you put index based currency. According to European continent, which currency reporting is mandatory?
Euro.
Euro.
Euro is mandatory. So you'll have to put euro. But are we supposed to use euro everywhere or only for European continents?
Only European continents.
Only European. For India, all other non-European continents, you will not be using third currency. Only for these two, you will be using European currency. Clear? Only for these two company codes, you will be using additional two currencies. Sorry, additional third currency. Remaining, you will be using only two currencies, local and group. Because in India, there is no requirement of European reporting. In USA, Malaysia, Australia, Dubai, in all these countries, there is no such kind of requirement. So since there is no country specific requirement, you are not going to assign euro for your other company codes. Whether to use third currency or not is decided based on your country specific requirement. Clear? This is especially used in European continents majorly. After that, in your American continents. In your Asian continent, we don't use this. Clear?
I have heard that it is something related to inflation. Is it true?
No. That is one of the reasons, but that inflation is again dependent on country specific. Because the country in which you are dealing, let's say England, Netherlands, but if you exclude this, if you look at the European continent, you will come to know different country names which we are not even heard before. Those are all small countries. The currency value in those countries are very high, very high in the sense, if you compare to dollar, you will end up getting a huge number. $1 equivalents to maybe 1 lakh rupees. If you take Indonesian currency of Indonesia is big or small?
Small.
Also.
The value is very small.
Value is very small. So if you pay, let's say 500 INR, you will end up getting 1 lakh Indonesian rupees. Okay, when we are on the SAP screen, I will show you the currency decimal notation. For certain currencies, you will have to maintain 1:1 relation. For certain currencies, you have to maintain 1:100, 1:1000, because any currency field that you are updating while recording a transaction is character limitation specific, which means you cannot type the number as you want. It will accept hardly 18 digits or 16 digits. Beyond that, it will not accept. Now, that point we will be discussing when we are actually recording a transaction, because certain things will be made clear only when we see it on the system. Especially the things that we are talking about, numbers, will be made understood only when we write the accounting entries along with a requirement and we do configuration and bring the same output from the system. Clear? So these things I will show you practically on the SAP system once we start our configuration. Now clear these three currencies. Any questions in these three currency assignments? At what level each currency is maintained?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, next one, how currency is updated in SAP. Okay, documents. Now, once you maintain your company code, once you decide how many currencies you want, you will have to record the transactions, correct? Next, what I will be doing, I will be recording transaction. When I record a transaction, if my company code is dealing with multiple currencies, let's say INR dollar in some cases, INR dollar euro in the other cases, how these currencies will get updated, on what basis, on what logic? Now, first thing, any transaction we post in SAP will have minimum 3 currencies. How many currencies minimum?
3.
3. For a company code, how many currencies minimum we have to use?
2 currencies.
2 currencies minimum we have to use for a company code. This is mandatory. And for a company code, minimum 3 currencies will be used. This is also mandatory. At company code level, you will have 2 transactions minimum. At transaction level, you will have 3 currencies minimum. Now, first one is your transaction currency. What is the other name of transaction currency?
So local currency?
Document currency.
No, document currency. Second one is your local currency or
Company code currency.
company code currency. Third one will be group currency or
Group currency.
local currency too. These three are mandatory. If you have any additional currency assigned to your company code, in European continent, for our example, we have used euro. That will come as your hard currency or index based currency. Let's say hard or index based currency. Now, like this, you will get minimum 3 currencies, and you have to get minimum 3 currencies for every transaction that you post in your company code right from the first entry. If you are not getting 3 currencies minimum in your company code right from the first transaction, what you are doing is not exactly what happens in a real environment. Okay. Now, how these currencies are used? While posting any transaction, we have to update which currency while posting a transaction?
Local currency.
Local currency.
Document
Document currency.
document currency is what we have to update while posting any transaction. So this is your point number 1. Point number 2, based on document currency, system will convert or system will calculate local currency. Clear? This is fixed. This is fixed logic. This is also fixed logic. Am I clear? While posting any transaction, you have to give document currency, that is fixed. And based on the document currency, system will convert the local currency. This is also fixed. Now, third one, which currency is left?
Group currency.
We can decide
Group currency.
how group currency is converted based on DC or LC. What is DC?
Document
Document
currency.
currency, local
Document
Document
currency.
currency.
currency or local currency, which means
Local currency.
when you want to calculate group currency, it is your choice. You can decide whether you want to calculate dollar based on document currency or local currency. This is flexible based on the requirement. Okay, based on the requirement, you have to maintain this in your configuration. Now, if somebody is asking you how group currency is converted in SAP or how group currency is calculated in SAP, it is not straightforward. It is flexible based on the requirement. You have two options to calculate group currency.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Now, leave that apart. I'll come to this point once again. Now, I'll straight away put a transaction. I'll say cash. Now, I'll have DC, I have LC, I have GC. What is DC?
Document currency.
Document currency. LC,
Local currency.
Local currency.
GC, group
Group
currency.
currency.
Now, which two currencies are fixed? Which one currency is flexible?
DC and LC are
Document
fixed.
currency, local currency.
When I say fixed, this currency value is fixed. The currency type is fixed. INR, dollar, this is fixed. Or in other
INR is
words,
fixed.
where I cannot change my currency. Or sorry, out of three currencies, how many currencies are coming from configuration? Out of three currencies that are listed above, DC, LC, GC, how many currencies are coming from configuration?
GC
How
and
many
LC.
I
currencies?
think all I think all three from the configuration.
LC and GC.
Local currency, where are we configuring? Where are you updating local currency? Which transaction code?
OX02.
OX02, accounting code.
OX02. Right. Group currency,
SCC4.
SCC4. Do we configure document currency anywhere, or this will change for every transaction?
It will keep on changing.
It will change.
It will change.
It will
Right? Your
change.
document currency will keep on changing based on the nature of transaction. If you are doing business in India, your currency will be INR. If you are doing business in US or if you are dealing with US customer, US vendor, your currency may get changed. Okay, document currency is not fixed. So here I'll put this is always fixed. This is also always fixed. This is not fixed. Clear? Clear? Any doubt in this? At this part only you focus.
Can you explain me once again this document currency? Hello.
Yeah, I'll write cash paid to local vendor in India. Clear? Cash paid to local vendor in India. If you pay cash to a local vendor in India, which currency you will be making payment?
Local currency.
What
Local
is your
currency.
local currency?
INR.
INR. Let's say cash paid to foreign vendor in Singapore. If you pay cash to a foreign vendor in Singapore, in which currency you will be making payment?
Singapore dollars.
Because the person who
Singapore
is
pound.
selling you from Singapore will not accept Indian rupees, correct? He will tell, please give me Singapore dollars. Is that correct? You have to convert your INR into Singapore and then pay him. Now, let's say cash received from a customer from Australia. If somebody is paying you from Australia, in which currency they will be paying?
INR.
AUD.
If somebody is paying you from Australia,
Australian dollar.
if cash received from Australia is Australian dollar, if cash paid to Singapore is Singapore dollar, are these two statements correct? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This can be correct, this cannot be correct. It all depends on the business requirement. When you're receiving a cash from a customer in Australia, you may request him to make payment in INR. You may also request him to make payment in Australian dollar. Right? So it depends on the business requirement. So you may have different requirements. Based on each kind of requirement, this currency may keep on changing. There is no fixed logic for this. And there is no control, there is no rule for this. You are free to do business with any country in any currency. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
I can import from any currency, sorry, I can import from any country in any currency. I can export to any country in any currency. All I need to do is I need to make sure that my currency conversions are properly taken care of. Let's say here cash payment we have made to a vendor in India. In India, assuming you have paid in INR, correct? I'll say 50,000 INR. Is this statement clear? Cash paid to a local vendor in India, 50,000 INR. Any doubt with this statement alone? Now, in this scenario, what will be the document currency? In which currency you have to record this transaction?
Document currency INR.
INR.
It will be recorded in INR. What will be the document currency value?
50,000.
50,000.
50,000. This will be 50,000. Second one is always fixed. When we say this is always fixed, by default, this is INR. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
This is by default INR. And this group currency is also always fixed, which means what is this group currency?
USD.
USD. These two you cannot change because in India, for your local reporting, you must submit your reports in INR only. no matter in which currency you do your business, make sure your foreign currency is always converted to INR and your transaction is always converted to dollar. These are the two things that you have to ensure, because your reports are always based on local currency and group currency. You are not going to make any report on document currency. Clear? We are not going to generate any report at document currency level. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, if this is 50,000, what will be this amount?
Same 50,000.
This is 50,000. And before I write document currency, do I have any value here, or this is the first currency?
So first currency.
Before I write document currency, there is nothing here. Here it is blank. When there is nothing, no other option, I have to manually input what is my document currency amount. Agree? I have given 50,000. So I'll tell this as currency number 1. Clear? This is the first
Yes, sir.
one. So I am giving first currency, I have to give manually. Now this is the currency number 2. When I come to currency number 2, before I give this, do I have any currency, or this is the first currency? How many currencies are already updated before local currency in your document?
One currency.
One currency. Assume if these two currencies are different, if I want to convert, do I have any option, or I have to convert from this only?
No option.
That one only.
Right? If I have to convert this, no other option, because I have only one currency before. So I have to convert my local currency always from document currency. Am I clear? Your local currency is always converted from the
Yes.
document currency. Now this one is dollar. Dollar is your third currency. Before updating dollars, or before dollar comes, how many currencies do you have?
Two currencies.
Before dollar you have two currencies. Now can I blindly take any one, or I need to have a logic? I need to decide which one to be taken.
Decide to
Need to
We
logic.
should
decide.
take from document currency.
Right? So we need to decide whether to take from document currency or to take from local currency. If we are calculating manually, we will think and take which one is ideal. But these currencies are updated manually or updated by system automatically.
Once fix the configuration, the system will take automatically.
Right? System will convert these numbers automatically. For system to convert the number automatically, we have to give an instruction to system or not, from which currency to convert, either from DC or from LC. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? So here you have to maintain in the configuration whether your group currency is to be converted from local currency or from document currency. In majority of the cases, you will be converting your group currency from local currency. From which currency?
Local currency.
Look,
From local currency, you will be converting group currency in most of the scenarios. So how many currency conversions are configurable? 1 or 3 or 2?
And 3.
2.
How many
3.
currency conversions are configurable?
2, sir.
If, if it
For
is one
which
currency, it is
currency?
transferable, like document.
Now again, let me repeat. Document currency is this manual input or, so I'll put manual or system conversion.
Automatic.
What is document currency? Manual or system?
It is the system conversion.
Manual, sir.
Document
Manual.
currency.
Manual
Document currency is always manual, right? What about local currency?
It is fixed.
It converts manual.
That one also
System.
manual.
Manual or system?
System, sir.
This
System.
is your system.
Converts
When
document.
system is converting, do you have any other currency before local currency? If yes, one or more than one?
One, sir.
Before local currency, do we have any currency to convert?
We have one, sir.
You have one. If you have one, is there any option to choose either this or that, or you have to go with whatever is available?
You have to choose.
We need to convert whatever it is available.
Right? Your local currency is always converted from document currency, whatever it is, because there is no option. You have only one document currency before local currency, so you have to convert always from the document currency, no other option. So this local currency conversion is system driven. You cannot control this. You have no control over this. System blindly converts from your document currency. If your document currency is INR, your local currency is INR, what it will do? It will take same INR here, or it will convert.
It will convert. Same.
Let's say if I put 100 INR, what will be INR here again? This is also 100,
Yes.
right? Now let's say if I put $200 here, how system will convert? From which currency to which currency?
Based on the
USD INR.
This is USD to INR. Okay. Let's say if I have 400 JPY here,
JPY to INR.
USD to INR.
JPY to INR, because before local currency you have only one currency. Whatever is here, from there only your local currency is converted. If I have 500 SGD, then what this will be?
SGD to INR.
SGT to
SGD
INR. To
INR. Let's say if I have 600 ZWD here,
ZWD to INR.
ZWD to INR. Here if I say 1000 IDR, this will be
1000 IDR to INR.
IDR to INR. If I have 1300, let's say AED,
AED to INR.
AED to INR. Clear now how your local currency is getting converted? Can we put any fixed rule here?
Yes, sir, we can give.
Can you put any fixed rule here? Your local currency is converting every
Yes, sir.
time
Any currency will
differently.
automatically convert it to INR only.
So here for local currency, you cannot put any logic, you cannot put any rule, because local currency is blindly converted from your document currency or your transaction currency. You have no control over this. This is purely system driven calculation. Okay, based on the document currency, your local currency is derived, fixed. We have no control on this. Am I clear? Whatever the currency you are typing in the document currency field, from that document currency, system will convert your local currency. If both are same, no conversion. If both are different, there is a conversion. When I put the transaction list after this, maybe in the next session, you will have clear understanding. I'll put transactions along with different currencies. Then we will maintain the exchange rate. We will understand how different currencies are converted, and we will be posting the exact entries what we are writing in the Excel sheet. Okay. Now, in case of my group currency is system or manual?
System, sir.
This is your system. In system, is this
System.
This is fixed, correct?
Yes, sir.
This is based on the system, fixed conversion,
Yes.
always from DC, fixed from DC. Now this one,
System fixed from
Either
DC.
from
Same.
DC or else, sir.
system
This one also
configurable.
D.
This is configurable because you have two currencies before group currency. What are those two currencies?
Document currency and local currency.
You have document currency, you have local currency. You have to do a configuration setting in which you have to tell your group currency can be converted either from local currency or from document currency. Whatever you maintain in the
Local
configuration,
currency.
from there it will convert. In most of the cases, we will be converting it from local currency. From where we will convert this?
Local currency.
Local
INR.
currency. So
Local.
we will always use LC. You will always use local currency. Now you might get these questions in your interviews. If somebody is asking you, especially in your managerial rounds, after your technical round, you will be having final rounds. At that time, people might ask you these kind of questions. They want to check your understanding, how good you are at understanding system. They are not fine if you tell there are three currencies. They will ask how system will understand how to convert the numbers, from where it will convert the number, on what basis, where are you maintaining the configuration settings that system is converting this from local currency. Okay.
So where we do this
Now
configuration?
if you are in ECC, you will be doing this in OB22. If you are in S4 HANA, FINSC underscore, what is that continuation?
Ledger, sir.
Is the T code correct? OB22 in case of ECC, FINSC underscore ledger in case of S4 HANA. Okay, now if you commit this transaction, now this dollar is updated from which currency now? Which currency is recommended? Is this from local currency to group currency conversion or document currency to group currency conversion?
Local currency to group currency, sir.
Local currency to
Document
group
currency.
currency. Local currency, not document. We don't use document currency to group currency conversion.
Okay.
Okay, this is always LC to DC. If I put one more entry, let's say cash paid to Singapore vendor let's say 3000 SGD. In document currency, what we will update?
SGD, sir.
SGD of 3000.
Yes, sir.
Now your local currency is how it is converted?
SGD to
DC
INR.
to LC.
SGD to INR local.
So for this conversion to happen, what is to be maintained in the system? SGD to INR and INR to SGD currency conversion exchange rate.
Yes, sir. Pair.
Yes, sir.
Right, we have to update currency pair for Singapore dollar to INR, INR to Singapore dollar. Accordingly, it will convert and then put the INR figure here. In case of group currency, how this is converted?
Local currency to group currency.
This is fixed. Local currency to
document.
Sorry, this is LC to GC. Local currency to group currency.
Here also we need
Here
to
also
maintain
you
pair,
have
sir.
to maintain INR to Singapore, sorry, INR to dollar, dollar to INR. Now understanding these calculations manually out of SAP is must, because if you see all these sorry, if you see all these numbers directly on the system, it is very difficult, it is very confusing for anybody to understand, because on your screen, multiple screens, multiple transactions will be shuffling. You will not be able to catch what is happening in which screen unless you are clear what you are going to do on the SAP. Now, if you are clear that this transaction you are going to do, you will notice that your document currency is Singapore dollar. You are updating 3000. Your local currency system is automatically bringing a figure according to your exchange rate. So you have to maintain one exchange rate in the system on the date for which you are posting the transaction. If your manual calculation says Singapore dollar to this conversion is, let's say, 65 rupees. How you are going to bring INR if your conversion is 65? If Singapore dollar to INR conversion is 65, what will be the INR?
1 divided by rates.
3000 into 65.
Are we 3000 into 65? So this I'll explain separately how you have to calculate these numbers, because how you have to first understand this currency pair. If I want to convert from SGD to local currency INR or INR to local currency, sorry, INR to Singapore dollar, what is my rate? If you talk about Singapore dollar to INR or INR to Singapore dollar, in either case, we will be telling 65 only. Am I correct? In both the case, when you see, you will see 65 only. To understand it in easier ways, if somebody is asking you what is the dollar exchange rate, what do you tell? 80 or somewhere around 80, 75, correct? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Did we hear anybody
near to
telling
80.
dollar exchange rate as 0.01 or 0.17, something like that? Did we hear any time?
No.
Did anybody tell that way? 0.17, 0.16? Nobody tells. Everybody will tell 75 or 80. Now, depending on the currency pair, you have to decide whether to apply direct quotation or indirect quotation, which means whether to multiply with 75 or whether to divide with 75. So that logic we will explain when we are actually writing the transaction list in the tomorrow's session. Now in this case it will be 1,95,000. In case of local currency to group currency, what will be this number? Assuming this is 80 rupees. Assuming this is 80 rupees, what will be your dollar? How do you bring dollars here? If your exchange rate is 80, are we converting local currency to foreign currency or foreign currency to local currency? What is this conversion called? Local currency to foreign
Local
or
currency to
foreign to
foreign.
local? If you are converting local currency to foreign currency, do a divided by. If you are doing foreign currency to local currency, do a multiply. Now, if I know my exchange rate is 80, the dollar rate is 80. If my intention is to convert local currency to foreign currency I mean non-INR. If my intention is to convert local currency to foreign currency, I have to do a divided by. If my intention is to convert foreign currency to local currency, I have to do a multiply. Here, what we did, we converted foreign currency to local currency. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
What we did here, Singapore dollar is local currency or foreign currency? This is foreign currency. From foreign currency to local currency, what we did here, we did multiply, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, for this scenario, is this local to foreign or foreign to local?
Local to foreign.
Local to foreign. For any local currency to foreign currency, we have to multiply or divide it by.
Divide, sir.
You have to divide. So what I will do is equal to 1 divided by
8.
80 into, or any other way I have to do. Anyone? How will I get my dollar value here?
So straight away we can divide it from 195k to
Right?
80.
Straight away we can divide this INR by 80. Correct? 2,437.5 dollars. Is this correct? Now, like this, you have to have your predefined calculations on an Excel sheet. You have to have predefined calculations on your Excel sheet, and you have to find out profit, loss, asset, liability in 3 currencies. Okay, in whatever the currencies that you have, if you are using local currency, group currency, hard currency, in 3 currencies you have to prepare profit loss figure. In these 3 currencies you have to prepare balance sheet asset, balance sheet liability. Make sure whatever the manual calculations you are doing here, exact the same number you are able to bring from SAP, considering very minimal transactions. Maybe 5-6 transactions we will take, we will record them in SAP, we will pull the reports. We will see whether our calculations of profit loss calculation in INR is correct and dollar is correct. If you are using euro, euro is correct or not. If you see here, somewhere we prepared balance sheet. Where did we prepare that? Where is it? You prepared, right?
Yes, sir. P&L and balance sheet. At the same time, we have to. Still we need to go through.
Loss. 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 Not sure where it is. Yeah, here is where we have prepared, I think. Let's say here, whatever the profit loss that you are seeing is in INR.
Yes, sir.
All right. Similarly, we will take some transactions. I'm not sure where we have written it.
Sir, it is there in right side. Come little right side.
Dated 3, sir.
Salary. Anybody know the row number? If you have the Excel
451
sheet.
line, sir.
451.
451.
Correct. Here we have written accounting entry, debit, credit, and we have taken the amount in transaction currency. Now in this example, what we did, we have considered everything as INR.
Yes, sir.
Correct? In this example, we took everything as INR. In the next example, what we will take some INR numbers, some Euro numbers, some Singapore dollar numbers, some AUD numbers, different currency numbers we will take. From that, we will write accounting entries. We will prepare trial balance in 3 currencies. We will prepare P&L in 3 currencies. We will prepare balance sheet in 3 currencies, which means you will see the P&L in INR, you will see the P&L in dollar, you will see the P&L in euro, third currency. Similarly, balance sheet, all these numbers we are going to verify from SAP after posting the transactions. Whatever we see on the Excel sheet, whatever we write, the exact number we are going to post, we are going to pull from the system. So that each point, whatever the controls we are maintaining, to get this number, what actual settings we have to maintain, you will get to know practically. You have to get the concept, an idea from Excel sheet. Based on this concept, based on this Excel sheet scenario, you must understand what settings to be made in system. Just like that, we should not record any transaction. Here if you see, you have all the transactions, what is to be created, at what amount we have to create, on what month you have to create, for which company you have to create. Similarly, we will take one company code. Whatever we have, we'll take one company code. We'll configure one of the company codes. For Dell, we will maintain the basic baseline configuration, and then we will record these transactions, pull out the reports to ensure the same understanding whatever we had on the Excel sheet is coming from the system. Okay, any doubt so far?
So can we change group currency, sir?
Group currency once decided cannot be changed.
So for example, after the recent war for Russia, US they have made some sanctions, right? What was the ideal solution for them, sir, for their companies over there?
So they would have changed their, in that scenario, what you will have, you have something called, anybody knows another currency called functional currency? There is a term called functional currency.
No ideas.
So you will add one more currency. Now all the transactions that you are recording currently in your company code currency will not be used for your reporting purpose. You will take a key date and you will add another currency called functional currency. This functional currency will be used for your reporting purposes. You will take one key date, and on that key date, whatever the values you have on each account will be converted into functional currency. You have to pass reclassification entries in each account to bring the value in the functional currency. Whatever the currency you decide to report in going forward, in that currency you will have to do. And if you remember, I'm not sure, but maybe in 2019, I guess, if I'm not sure, changed their currency from USD to ZWD. Any idea, anyone?
Yes, sir. The currency has changed. Official currency they have
Right?
changed.
They've made their official currency as dollar to ZWD. And I did this project in Zimbabwe. I was there in Zimbabwe for 2 months, converting all their numbers from dollar to Zimbabwean dollar, ZWD.
At that time, they need to change the whole group currency level, sir.
Right. At that time, it was their local currency change.
Okay, sir.
Okay, we have to add another currency, and any transaction that is recorded in your US dollar will not be considered because dollar itself is invalid. Officially, you are supposed to report every figure in ZWD. Whatever the number you have in USD, you have to convert that into equivalent ZWD.
Clear, sir. Thank you, sir.
For these kind of things, we will get notes from SAP because these are not client requirements, these are legal requirements. Am I correct? All the companies which are operating in that particular country will have to change their reporting from one currency to another currency. Is my statement correct?
Yes, sir.
Right? So these are the legal requirements. For any kind of legal requirement, SAP will come up with a solution, and this solution is released in terms of SAP note. Because the SAP system will also get affected when you change currency. What about your reports? All these things will have to be considered, for which SAP will come up with a solution. It will release a note. For doing this activity, you have to follow these instructions, and these are the
So
impacts
that
that you
note we
will
will get
do.
in YouTube, Google.
No, to access any SAP note, you need S user ID, and you'll have to use launchpad.sap.com. You will get the note, but you may not be able to see it. To see the SAP note, you will have to have the SAP S user ID password. But if you work in an
Oh,
organization, if you are certified in SAP, you will get S user ID password.
okay.
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 Any other questions?
So BPC, is it provided by SAP or it's an external reporting tool?
SAP. PPC is SAP product. Anybody who is using SAP will also buy the license of BPC. Okay. No questions or any other doubts you have, you can ask.
No, sir.
Sir,
All right.
No, sir.
morning I have one doubt.
Yes.
Like for material PO, we can't give cost center, right?
For material PO, there will be no account assignment. Your account assignment category will be blank. And if somebody is asking
Sir,
you
we
how
will
do
give.
you identify if a purchase order belongs to a material, you will identify that a purchase order belongs to material by not assigning any account assignment category. If your purchase order is created for any expense, for any service, or for any cost center, your account assignment category will be K.
Yes.
Alright, if it is K, it's a service. If it is K, it is a purchase order created for cost center, in short, for any expense. If you are creating a purchase order for service entry sheet, you will have to give K followed by D. KD
Service
will
number.
represent service entry sheet cost and service entry sheet purchase order. If your purchase
Yes,
order
sir.
is created for fixed asset, your account assignment category will be what?
No.
A.
Okay, asset related A will be okay. Category.
A will be asset, K will be cost center or your expense or your service, blank will be material.
Okay.
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 So what
Alright.
is the
Any other question?
account assignment category?
To differentiate your purchase order category and to differentiate your financial interest. If you are purchasing a material, you have to debit your inventory account. Correct? Huh?
Yes.
If you are purchasing material, you have to debit inventory account. If you are purchasing an asset,
We have to debit the asset.
you have to debit asset account. If you are making any service PO, any expense related PO, you have to debit
We
the
have to debit
respective
the expense.
expense account.
Yes,
So
sir.
purchase order screen is common, but to differentiate the nature of purchase, you have to use account assignment category. If your
For
account
asset
assignment
related, we will give
category,
asset number, right, sir?
right, if your account assignment category is blank, system understands this is material purchase order. It will look for your OBYC settings for the GL account. If your account assignment category is filled up with K, it will not look for OBYC setting. Instead, it will look within the purchase order under item categories. You will have to maintain account assignment, GL account, and then cost center.
Constant.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if you are creating any purchase order for asset, your account assignment category will be A. You have to update fixed asset number in your purchase order account assignment.
Okay.
So
If it
system
is
will not
inventory,
look
sir,
for OBYC.
inventory.
If it is inventory or material, no account assignment category is maintained. If no account assignment category is maintained, it will check in the
OB.
OBYC settings.
Okay, there it will pick. Okay, understood.
There it will pick.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? All right.